We are the Hebrew Israelites.
Okay.
We're definite Hebrew Israelites. But it was other things that went along with the curses that was put on our people in Deuteronomy 28 chapter. And then once you begin to see these things, you begin to understand why our people walk around in darkness as far as religious doctrine is concerned.
Shabbat Shalom. Our scripture reading for today is Psalm chapter 121, verses 4 through 8. Behold, he that keeps Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is your keeper. Yahweh is your shade upon your right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve you from all evil. He shall preserve your soul. Yahweh shall preserve you going out and you're coming in from this time forth and even forevermore.
Shabbat Shalom, family. Our selection today, keep me day by day.
The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be therefore sober and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as their children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as become saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth. Therefore, let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in this body of Yahshua. Now, many people have heard the term ignorance is bliss. This term means that there is a higher level of happiness associated with not knowing exactly what has taken place. The love spoken of and displayed on Sunday morning is undeniable. This display of love often operates in the right now, meaning there is no accountability for the countless lives taken in the past for their present to be perceived as so peaceful. As we get into this book and start reading, we start learning more and more about what is written about this controversy of Zion. And the more information you get, the more you understand that this is a great controversy and it involves many nations. We're going to begin today's sermon in Galatians chapter 5. And the title of today's sermon is The Appearance of Love Through the Violent Christian Crusades. The appearance of love through the violent Christian crusades. Many people, after they got into this word, you start hearing from some of your family members, and they said, you seem different. You seem more aggressive. There's something that's different about you. Well, when you come out of the blissful ignorance, it starts to affect how you take in information when you know what you're dealing with. When you don't have a clue about what happened, you will allow somebody to stand before you and talk about love and all of these things, and it sounds so nice and soft. But when you have understanding about what has happened, for them to be able to stand there and look pious and talk about love, it affects how you receive that information. Galatians chapter 5, let's start at verse 1.
Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Yahshua has made us free, and be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage.
This is what the people are saying about you. They said that you're keeping the Passover, you're keeping Feast of Unleavened Bread, you're observing the Sabbath, and you must be entangled in that yoke of bondage. They said we are free, and if you would operate in love, you would be happier. Go ahead.
Behold, I, Saul, say unto you, that if you be circumcised, Yahshua shall profit you nothing. For I testify again to every man that is circumcised, that he is a debtor to do the whole law.
Right. The very people that are telling you not to keep the law have gotten circumcised. They don't even understand what that means. They're telling you that you're not bound to the law, but they've got circumcised, which made themselves bound to the law. Go ahead.
Yahshua has become of no effect unto you. Whosoever of you are justified by the law, you are fallen from grace.
Right. We're not justified by this law of carnal commandments. Understand something. We don't deal with animal sacrifice. They were justified through animal sacrifice. Christ is the best sacrifice for us. We don't do sacrifices. We're not justified by the law. That is not how we're justified. We're justified through the redemption of Christ's blood. But that don't mean I get to walk around and do whatever it is I want to do and then call on his name and claim love while I'm doing it. Go ahead.
For we through the Spirit wait for the hope of righteousness by faith. For in Yahshua HaMashiach neither circumcision avails anything, nor uncircumcision, but faith which works by love. You did run well. Who did hinder you that you should not obey the truth? This persuasion comes not of him that calls you.
Mm-hmm.
A little leaven leavens the whole lump.
Wait a minute. If there's no reason to keep the law, then why is there leaven? Just be nice and everything ought to work out. Go ahead.
I have confidence in you through the Adonai, that you will be none otherwise minded. But he that troubles you shall bear his judgment, whosoever he be. And I, brethren, if I yet preach circumcision, why do I yet suffer persecution? Then is the offense of the cross ceased. I would they were even cut off which trouble you. For, brethren, you have been called on to liberty. Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh, but by love serve one another.
And if I'm going to serve my brethren and my sisters in love, that means I'm going to walk according to the commandments concerning how I deal with them. It's not about me walking around saying a whole bunch of nice things to them, giving them flowers and candy. This is why so many of us are confused, because we watch television constantly and we let it tell us what love is. And we wonder why we constantly feel unloved. Go ahead.
For all the law is fulfilled in one word, even this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself.
And we can't do that. See, that TV love don't teach that. TV love teach that you should have what you desire in your heart, not that you should treat your brother as you want to be treated. Not that if you have done something to your brother, then you should be ready to offer restitution. But we only want to receive restitution. We don't want to give it. Now, let somebody hit our car. We want to get paid. We hit somebody else's car. We like, well, it ain't that bad. I mean. Go ahead.
But if you bite and devour one another, take heed that you be not consumed one of another. This I say then, walk in the Spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusts against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other, so that you cannot do the things that you would.
Right. It's the flesh that comes up and start renegotiating with you. I was in a car accident in a company van one time. Flipped the other car over. And I had a little cut on my arm. My manager said, well, you're not going to go get a lawyer? You can get a whole lot of money out of this. He said, man, that guy was in the wrong. You can get paid. Man, look here, man. I don't play those kind of games. Go play them games somewhere. I must have heard that Gentile feeling because he didn't talk for about 4 days after that because he just knew he was helping me. And I was like, hey, man, don't bring that here. I understand what you're doing, and I understand they'll pay me. But I don't play those kind of games. Go ahead, Bree.
But if you be led of the Spirit, you are not under the law. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of Elohim.
Mm-hmm.
But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, and long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. And they that are Yahshua's have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts.
Mm-hmm.
If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Let us not be desirous of vainglory, provoking one another, envying one another.
Now, do we do that? If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. But when we are witnessing these displays of love, and then people come to you and say, well, why aren't you as soft and loving as these individuals? Then you start to question your stance. You start to question, well, maybe I am a little too aggressive in this word. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 5. Ephesians chapter 5, and I want you to read verses 1 through 21.
Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 1. Be you therefore followers of Elohim as their children, and walk in love, as the Messiah also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor.
Now, we read this, and people hear this, and they'll tell you that even when it comes down to our personal relationships, that a man should love his wife like Christ loved the church. And they said, walk in love. Well, wait a minute. And I ask you a question. Did Christ sit down, hold hand, and watch chick flicks with Israel?
Hmm.
Did Christ pass out chocolates to Israel? Did he give Israel flowers? Did he sing little soft melodies to Israel? What did he do? See, people will talk about this love, but they don't understand the attributes of what love does. What did he do? He completely put what he thought, feel, and believed behind him to take care of Israel. That is love. A lot of people have love right in front of them, but they ain't getting no flowers, so they ain't counting it. I ain't seen a verse in here yet where Yahshua passed out flowers. I mean, if he can put a man's ear on, he can pull flowers out of a hat. He didn't do it. But it said that he was the epitome of love. So where are we getting our boundary, our justification for what love is? Where are we getting that? We're getting it from the people who have done the most mayhem on the face of the earth. This is where you're getting your display of love from. Keep reading.
But fornication and uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as become saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. For this you know, that no whoremonger, nor unclean person, nor covetous man, who is an idolater, has any inheritance in the kingdom of Yahshua and of Elohim. Let no man deceive you with vain words, for because of these things cometh the wrath of Elohim upon the children of disobedience. Be not you therefore partakers with them. For you were sometimes darkness, but now you are light in the Adonai. Walk as children of light. For the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness and righteousness and truth, proving what is acceptable unto the Adonai. And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them.
We can't reprove them because we want to mimic some of the things that they do. So we might say something against one thing, but we're not going to say nothing against that other one, because I hope I get that next Thursday. Go ahead.
For it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret. But all things that are reproved are made manifest by the light. For whatsoever does make manifest is light.
So if something makes something manifest, it is light. Wait a minute. Now, understand, now people will get mad at you when you bring something to light and will call you darkness because you brought their stuff to light. Whatever makes manifest is light. See, all we want to do is respect the natural light itself. Wait a minute. A brother or sister could be light. Why? Because they made manifest something that was hidden, something that was being dealt with and dealt with in the wrong manner. Then they manifest it and bring it out to the table so that thing can be dealt with. Then that person has operated in light. But then we get mad at the light. Right. Go ahead.
Wherefore he says, awake you that sleepeth, and arise from the dead, and Yahshua shall give you light. See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Wherefore be you not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Adonai is. And be not drunk with wine, wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit, speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Adonai, giving thanks always for all things unto Elohim and the Father in the name of our Adonai Yahshua HaMashiach, submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of Elohim.
All right, let's go to Luke chapter 11. See, it talks about how the Spirit will change you. Now, we walk into that extremely ignorant because up into this point that we hear about the Spirit, what we have seen regarding the Spirit is what they show us on Sunday morning. And those people look like they were trying to get something boiling out of their clothing or something. This is what we knew about the Spirit. So then when people start telling us as we're learning and growing that it seems like your spirit has changed. See, Yahweh has to work on something, and sometimes he got to take some pieces apart to put it back together. Because see, you got some parts, and a lot of those parts are not wrong. They're just in the wrong place. So you can't put your alternator in the glove box. There's going to be a problem. Should you have an alternator? Yes. Should it be in your glove box? No. Well, to rearrange that, he can't just deal with the part that you got in the wrong place. See, if you watch anything get repaired, he's got to move about 5 or 6 things to get to the one thing that needs to be repaired. We have no patience for the 5 or 6 things to be moved. Matter of fact, when the one thing gets moved, we already panicking. Go ahead, Bree. Luke chapter 11, start at verse 37.
And as he spake, a certain Pharisee besought him to dine with him. And he went in and sat down to meat. And when the Pharisee saw it, he marveled that he had not first washed before dinner. And the Adonai said unto him, Now do you Pharisees make clean the outside of the cup and the platter, but your inward part is full of ravening and wickedness.
It's full of ravening and wickedness. All right? So the outside of them looks pious. It looks holy. It looks peaceful. It looks like it's full of love. But he said the inside ain't right. Go ahead.
You fools, did not he that made that which is without make that which is within also?
Now hold on. Now it says, love thy wives like Christ loved the church. Now I want you to see how Christ loved the church. He loved the church so much, he about to deal with it. Now we say we love something, but we don't want it to deal with us. But he loved this so much, he about to deal with it. This is love. But somebody done told you that them flowers and those chocolates was love. But we can't read. None of this writing in the red shows us flowers and chocolates. See, we just didn't know that we was reading love when we was reading it. See, he loved it so much, he about to deal with it. This is what you do when you love something. You deal with it. Go ahead.
Or rather give alms of such things as you have, and behold, all things are clean unto you. But woe unto you, Pharisees, for you tithe mint and rule and all manner of herbs, and pass over judgment and the love of Elohim. These ought you to have done, and not to leave the other undone. Woe unto you, Pharisees, for you love the uppermost seats in the synagogues, and greetings in the markets. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are as graves which appear not, and the men that walk over them are not aware of them.
Now, we're going to get to a little bit more of this. There are 2 aspects of this that we're going to get deeper into, but there is the appearance of having it all together. And then there's what's really going on. Yahshua is dealing with what's really going on. So we say that we want the kind of love that Christ had for the church. But when we get this digging and start asking questions and say, no, come here, let me deal with this. No, what are you doing? I'm trying to love like Christ did. He said, I don't want to see that outside. I already know that's clean. I want to know what's in the inside. And we go through hell and high water to hide what's on the inside. And still claim we want the love of Christ. Okay. Well, let's deal with how Sunday morning has presented this image of love so well. Let's see what has afforded them this peace. Go ahead, brother.
The Christian Crusades were a series of religious wars spanning the 11th through 13th centuries.
So wait a minute. So all of this love that has been presented came by the way of war. Go ahead.
Authorized by the papacy.
If it's authorized by the papacy, that means the popes. The popes authorized wars. But yet the people will tell us, God is love. Go ahead.
Western European knights and peasants sought to reclaim the Holy Land, Palestine, from Muslim control, resist Islamic expansion, and defend the Byzantine Empire. Crusades, military expeditions, beginning in the late 11th century, that were organized by Western European Christians in response to centuries of Muslim wars of expansion.
So wait a minute now. You understand that the kingdom is being caught in between the Muslim and the Christian wars, both expanding themselves. But you know, we look at both of these groups. One group is being the group of wisdom, the other one being the group of love, and both of them got their power and stance through blood. Go ahead.
Their objectives were to check the spread of Islam, to retake control of the Holy Land in the eastern Mediterranean, to conquer pagan areas, and to recapture formerly Christian territories. They were seen by many of their participants as a means of redemption and expiation for sins.
So wait a minute. I need you to understand what expiation for sin means. They believed that if they went and conquered this other area, that God would forgive them for other sins that they have done, thereby making this a holy war. All right, go to the next graphic.
Approximately 2/3 of the ancient Christian world had been conquered by Muslims by the end of the 11th century, including the important regions of Palestine, Syria, Egypt, and Anatolia. The Crusades, attempting to check this advance, initially enjoyed success, founding a Christian state in Palestine and Syria, but the continued growth of Islamic states ultimately reversed those gains. By the 14th century, the Ottoman Turks had established themselves in the Balkans and would penetrate deeper into Europe despite repeated efforts to repulse them.
So understand what some of we have all of this friction going on in Palestine. Okay? All right. This has been going on for 2,000 years. Back and forth. And the irony is it doesn't belong to either one of them. Okay? Go to the next graphic.
Between 1095, when the First Crusade was launched, and 1291, when the Latin Christians were finally expelled from their kingdom in Syria, there were numerous expeditions to the Holy Land, to Spain, and even to the Baltic. The Crusades continued for several centuries after 1291. Crusading declined rapidly during the 16th century and the advent of the Protestant Reformation and the decline of papal authority.
Okay, so when the Roman Catholics got divided, this is when all the denominations are the Protestant Reformation. All right? So anybody who said they're a Baptist, Methodist, all of these other things, these were the branches that broke off from the Catholic Church. Before that, the Catholic Church had everything, and they were able to move and conquer all of these lands. And they financed all of these wars. You ever ask yourself, every time they catch a priest and they find out that he has touched 40, 50 kids, you ever notice that they never go to jail? No matter what country they are in? Has anybody ever noticed that? No matter what country they're in, they have never served a day of time. And they are convicted for touching those little children. Somebody pays off, and then that individual is moved to another province only to do the same thing again. Go ahead, bro.
It may seem paradoxical that a council both promulgated peace and officially sanctioned war. But the peace movement was designed to protect those in distress. and a strong element of the crusade was the idea of giving aid to fellow Christians in the East. Tied to those ideas was the notion that war to defend Christendom was not only a justifiable undertaking, but a holy work and therefore pleasing to God.
So, if they can make this a holy war, then the Most High agrees with them. Now, I want you to pay attention to some wording here. It says in the beginning of what my brother was just reading, that a council both promulgated peace and officially sanctioned war. So it's peace and war. Now I want you to pay attention to some of the things that we've recently heard. Now, the United States Department of Defense was changed to the Department of War by President Trump. Trump's peace through strength foreign policy is an America First strategy focusing on projecting overwhelming military dominance to deter adversaries and end global conflicts. This is from the war.gov. So these not my words. This is their words from their website. The doctrine emphasizes a heavily rebuilt defense, aggressive deterrence, and a demand that allies should shoulder more financial and defensive responsibility. In other words, he says we are going to create peace through war. Wait a minute. That was the exact motto of the crusade. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me? Wait a minute. So did the Crusades ever stop? See, we don't call them crusades, but wait a minute. This is the exact same wording. That we're going to achieve peace through war. Okay. Go ahead, brother. Go to the next graphic for me.
Closely associated with this Western concept of holy war was another popular religious practice, pilgrimage to a holy shrine.
Wait a minute. So every time you hear these people keep talking about, I'm going to go to the Holy Land, they don't understand what that is. You know, I used to wonder, it's something bigger that why these people keep constantly talking about, I'm going to the Holy Land. No. There is a very old connection here. Keep reading.
11th century Europe abounded in local shrines housing relics of saints, but three great centers of pilgrimage stood out above the others. Rome, with the tombs of St. Peter and Saul, Santiago de Compostela in northwestern Europe, Spain, and Jerusalem, with the holy sepulchre of Jesus Christ, entombment. Pilgrimage, which had always been considered an act of devotion, had also come to be regarded as a more formal expiation for serious sin.
Here we go again. So if you go and make the holy journey, you can wipe off some of your sin. These people have been playing games right under our noses. Go ahead.
Even occasionally prescribed as a penance for the sinner by his confessor.
All right, go to the next graphic for me.
From Constantinople to Antioch, Siege of Antioch. Late in May 1097, the Crusaders and a contingent of Byzantine soldiers reached the capital of the Turkish Sultanate, Nicaea, now Iznik, Turkey, which surrendered to the Byzantines on June 19th. The Crusade army left Nicaea for Antioch on June 26 and found crossing the arid and mountainous Anatolia difficult. At Dorylaeum, on July 1st, 1097, Turks attacked the advanced column of the Crusade army. Despite the heat and a rain of arrows, the Crusaders held their ground, and when the rest of the army drew up, the Turks were routed. A major victory in open warfare had been achieved by cooperation between the separate Western contingents and the Greeks.
All right, so this place here, so this is talking about Antioch. I want you to go to Acts chapter 11. So that we can put some of these events, times, and places together. Sometimes a picture appears better in your mind when you can connect a few other things. Acts chapter 11, let's start at verse 1. And I want you to remember this. Some people will pronounce this Nicaea, Nicaea. Understand what this, some things happened there. Go ahead.
And the apostles and brethren that were in Judea heard that the Gentiles had also received the word of Elohim. And when Cephas was come up to Jerusalem, they that were of the circumcision contended with him, saying, You wenteth in to men uncircumcised, and did eat with them. But Cephas rehearsed the matter from the beginning, and expounded it by order unto them, saying, I was in the city of Joppa, praying in a trance. I saw a vision. A certain vessel descended, as it had been a great sheet, let down from heaven by four corners, and it came even to me. Upon the which, when I had fastened mine eyes, I considered, and saw four-footed beasts of the earth, and wild beasts, and creeping things, and fowls of the air. And I heard a voice saying unto me, Arise, Cephas, slay and eat.
Now, you're going to find a lot of pushback when you go into various other Hebrew organizations, because they don't want to accept this as Yahweh opening the door unto other nations. What these other Hebrews teach is that this is the Hebrews who were spread into those areas, and then he's opening up to them. Why do they need to open up to them? They already got a path. So none of that makes sense. You have to get to the point when you're reading this, you have to sit back and set aside your own desire for that which you are reading, so that you don't pull out what it is you want to pull out from that reading. He is opening this up unto the Gentiles. And there's some groups, a lot of groups, that just do not want to accept that. Go ahead.
But I said, Not so, Adonai, for nothing common or unclean has at any time entered into my mouth. But the voice answered me again from heaven, What Elohim has cleansed, that call not you common. And this was done 3 times, and all were drawn up again into heaven. And behold, immediately there were 3 men already come unto the house where I was, sent from Caesarea unto me. And the Spirit bade me go with them, nothing doubting. Moreover, these 6 brethren accompanied me, and we entered into the man's house. And he showed us how he had seen an angel in his house, which stood and said unto him, Send men to Joppa, and call for Simeon, whose surname is Peter, who shall tell you words, whereby you and all your house shall be saved. And as I began to speak, the Holy Spirit fell on them, as on us at the beginning. Then remembered I the word of the Adonai, how that he said, Yohanan indeed baptized with water, but you shall be baptized with the Holy Spirit. For as much then as Elohim gave them the like gift as he did unto us, who believed on the Adonai Yahshua HaMashiach, what was I that I could withstand Elohim? When they heard these things, they held their peace and glorified Elohim, saying, Then has Elohim also to the Gentiles granted repentance unto life. Now they which were scattered abroad upon the persecution that arose about Stephen traveled as far as Phoenicia and Cyprus and Antioch, preaching the word to none but unto the Yehudims only. And some of them were men of Cyprus and Cyrene, which, when they were come to Antioch, spake unto the Grecians.
Now wait a minute. Now the other Hebrews are going to try to tell you that everybody involved here is just the Hebrews that were spread out. Well, this was somebody else's land. How are they just Hebrews? Now, first, he said originally they're speaking to the Hebrews only. but then he's going to go down. Now, Saul was definitely Roman by birth, but at the same time, ethnically, he was Israel. But that does not apply to everybody in this land. Go ahead.
Preaching the Adonai Yahshua. And the hand of the Adonai was with them, and a great number believed and turned unto the Adonai. Then tidings of these things came unto the ears of the church which was in Jerusalem, and they sent forth Barnabas, that he should go as far as Antioch.
All right, he should go as far as Antioch. Now we just got through reading about their conquering of this area, so make sure that you're connecting that to these crusades. Now keep reading.
Who, when he came and had seen the grace of Elohim, was glad and exhorted them all, that with purpose of heart they would cleave unto the Adonai. For he was a good man, and full of the Holy Spirit and of faith, and much people was added unto the Adonai. Then departed Barnabas to Tarsus, for to seek Saul. And when he had found him, he brought him on to Antioch. And it came to pass that a whole year they assembled themselves with the church, and taught much people. And the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch.
Wait a minute. This is where they got this name. They didn't call themselves Christians. These people in Antioch called them Christians. This is where they got this term from. This was not anything that they were calling themselves. So when we talk about this conquering of area, they conquered more than the area. When we talk about that Nicaea, you do some research on that, and you find this is where they laid the framework to change the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday. They laid the framework, right? Because they first started saying we're gonna Passover must always be on a Sunday. Why do you think they always have Easter Sunday? It ain't never Easter Monday. It ain't never Easter Tuesday. It ain't never been Easter Wednesday. I tell you that. I tell you what, put some money on it. It ain't never been an Easter Wednesday. Now, how is it that Christmas can fall on any day, but the resurrection always must be on Sunday? Oh, no. In this Nicaea, this council that they had, they first established that it must happen on Sunday. Now, once they set the rule that Passover, Easter, will always be on Sunday, now all the other ones now started to make way for, hey, even the worship should be on Sunday. They said the kingdom is ours. We've taken it from them Jews. Let's not do and make the dealings that they made. Let's make it the way we want. So right after they set Sunday as a forever institution of their Easter, after that comes Sunday worship altogether. And let me tell you something. They don't hide it. On Easter, they have sunrise service. Oh, no, they're worshiping the sun. We just don't understand what it is. They have sunrise service. You got folk that can't even be to work on time. They get up and up before the sun come up so they can keep Easter sunrise service. Hey, there's folks that go on the top of Stone Mountain and be on that mountain by the time the sun come up. That means they climbing that mountain in the dark. So that they can be on that mountain when the sun comes up, so they can have sunrise service. Okay. See, the Crusades just didn't take over the area. They took over how things operated as well. Brother, go to the next graphic for me.
The Latin East after the Third Crusade. Saladin, born 1137 or 1138, Tikrit, Mesopotamia, now in Iraq, died March 4th, 1193. Damascus, now in Syria, was a Muslim sultan of Egypt, Syria, Yemen, and Palestine.
Now, I need you to let that sit for a second. So the Sultan had Egypt, Syria, Yemen, and Palestine. Keep reading.
Founder of the Ayyubid dynasty and the most famous of Muslim heroes, in wars against the Christian Crusaders, he achieved great success with the capture of Jerusalem, October the 2nd, 1187, ending its nearly 9 decades of occupation by the Franks.
Wait a minute. 9 decades of occupation by the Franks. We have a constant fighting over this land, but what did Yahweh say? He said, I'm going to bring all them strangers through your land because you wouldn't do what you were supposed to do in it. So then when we talk about this culture, people think that oh, he just beating a dead horse. You need to understand all the people who done been through your land because you wouldn't walk in your culture. Go ahead.
Saladin was one of the greatest Muslim leaders, a man devoutly religious and deeply committed to jihad against the infidel. He was, nevertheless, respected by his opponents. His death led once again to divisions in the Muslim world, and his Ayyubid successors were willing to continue a state of truce with the Crusaders, which lasted into the early years of the 13th century. The truce was politically and economically advantageous for both sides, and the Italians were quick to make profitable trade connections in Egypt. The Franks were able to adjust to the new situation and to organize what in effect was a new titular kingdom of Jerusalem, centering on Acre and generally known as the Second Kingdom.
Okay, so we're gonna get to just how many people they, as the term I've been told I have to use, unalived, and it was massive in these campaigns. Go to the next graphic, brother.
Only in Spain did crusades meet with regular success. The unification of Aragon and Castile under Ferdinand and Isabella in 1479 gave Christian knights the opportunity to take up the cross against the remaining Muslims in Iberia.
Mm-hmm.
The campaigns continued throughout the 1480s and led to the surrender of Granada, the last Muslim stronghold, on January 12, 1492.
Now, some of these dates ought to start to sound familiar to you, especially when you read Ferdinand and Isabella in Spain, because right after some of this happens, a mysterious slave trade of a certain group of people happened right on these crusades. So you have to ask yourself, why these people, they've been fighting with the Muslim all this time. Why they ain't go get them? Come on, man, if you not long, they've been fighting each other. Why they ain't go get them? Okay, go ahead.
Nearly 800 years after the first effort to expel the Muslims, the Reconquista was completed, and Christians across Europe rang church bells and marched in processions of thanksgiving.
Right.
Yep.
So go to the next graphic, and there's something that we have to consider. All right. Now, in Joel chapter 3 and verse 2, it says, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Do you know how much parting of the land has gone? We think that we just dealing with the Christian side of this. There's a whole Muslim side of this. And then on top of that, we were our slaves to both groups. We had been enslaved by the Muslims and enslaved by the Christian Crusaders. Yet we think that we're going to pick one over the other. So we said, look, I don't want to be, these people look more distinguished. Now, they just killed you earlier. Go to the next graphic, bro.
Crusading came to an end in the 16th century, mainly because of changes in Europe brought on by the Protestant Reformation, and not because the Muslim threat had diminished.
Right. So, because the Catholic Church parted off, they could no longer continue the Crusades the way they had been doing. So now the Crusades have to change in nature. This is why we turn on the news and we watch something, but we don't know it's a crusade. See, once they had those divisions in the church, the popes didn't have that level of power anymore to just orchestrate it, so it had to be done a different way. Go ahead.
Martin Luther and other Protestants had no use for crusades, which they believed were cynical ploys by the papacy to grab power from secular lords.
Now, this is their own people who thought that the Crusades was their way to have a land grab and a money grab. Now, I want you to pay attention to some of the recent events, because all of this is these crusades. This is British operated. Keep that in mind. Now you have all the other nations joining in on the Western Front, but understand what's happening. Go ahead.
Protestants also rejected the doctrine of indulgence, central to the idea of crusade. Despite the decline in the appeal of crusading, the popes continued to call for peace in Europe so that crusades could be launched against the Turks, and they often financed such wars in holy leagues with various states such as Venice or Spain.
So, the popes financed wars. Wait a minute. So, the church paid for wars. Now people go to listen to the Pope give speeches of love and care and how one should deal with his brother. And people line up. They pack coliseums to hear the messages of love. They have unalived entire countries of individuals, but get to stand and make these statements of love. So now people look and they see the teaching and they say, oh, that teacher, that old Israelite, he's an aggressive teacher. I'm aggressive. The guy who gave you messages of love has bodies. Right. Go ahead, brother. Let's go to Habakkuk chapter 2. But you know, herein lies the way something is versus the way something seems. This is what we're dealing with here. The perception of love and then actual love. We are getting destroyed because we're looking for the image of love, but not the actual presence of love. Habakkuk chapter 2 and start at verse 1.
I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, or what I shall answer when I'm reproved. And Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that reads it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keeps at home, when largest his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathers on to him all nations, and heaps onto him all people.
What do you think those crusades, they couldn't be satisfied? They had to keep going and conquer more and more lands. And then forced conversion on the lands that they invaded. Remember now, the invasion is authorized by the church. See, we're talking about nations going against another nation. No. The church has nations going against other nations. But we still go buy a ticket to hear the statements of love. Go ahead.
Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increases that which is not his.
Woe to him that increases that which is not his. Go ahead.
How long? And to him that lades himself with the clay. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite you, and awake that shall vex you, and you shall be for booties unto them? Because you have spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil you, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and for all that dwell therein.
Wait a minute. Because you have spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil you. And you know, it's funny. When we look at wrongdoing in the greater view of a nation, we want reparations. We say we have been done. We want the restitution that is due us as a nation. But when we do one another wrong and we owe restitution for the wrong that we've done, we want that to just be forgotten about. Is that not hypocrisy? So then we're waging our own personal crusades on one another. We have private wars that we war, silent wars, because we don't announce that it's a war, but we're warring against one another with our attitude, our demeanor, and our the way we go about things. And then when the war is found out, now we want to let's just get past this. We have a situation where we can make a truce. But y'all know we don't like to make a truce when we think we're winning. So what we do is we keep on warring. Then we lose. Now we want the same conditions of peace that was offered before the war. No. The whole part about a peace treaty is you're going to make this before we lose soldiers in battle. Once we have had to war, this is not a truce at this point. Now we're making conditions of your surrender. We need to learn the difference. You can't keep warring, lose the war, then think you're going to go back to the original statement of peace. No, that ain't going to work. See? And if we wage our personal crusades among one another, then we know better than these crusaders here. Go ahead, priest.
Because you have spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil you, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and for all that dwell therein. Woe to him that covets an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. You have consulted shame to your house by cutting off many people, and have sinned against your soul. For the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. Woe to him that builds a town with blood, and establishes a city by lawlessness. Behold, it is not of the Yahweh of hosts that the people shall labor in the very fire, and the people shall weary themselves for very vanity. For the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of Yahweh as the waters cover the sea. Woe unto him that gives his neighbor drink, that puts your bottle to him and make him drunken, also that you may look on their nakedness. You are filled with shame for your glory. Drink you also, and let your foreskin be uncovered. The cup of Yahweh's right hand shall be turned onto you, and shameful spewing shall be on your glory.
Right. What the nations do is drop all of these bad products in our neighborhood. See, what they're trying to do is make our people drunk. You don't go into other parts of town and see that malt liquor on every corner. You don't go in there and find all of those foods that's laden with high fructose corn syrup. You don't find that. Okay? Matter of fact, you can go in a grocery store, look at a situation where you offer a soda, and you'll see that there's a totally different type of soda in the Hispanic aisle. So you go down the Hispanic aisle and they got sodas that don't have that high fructose corn syrup, which is basically sugar cracked corn. All right? So then they ain't got no cracked corn sugar and theirs. And then, but you find that there's sodas on the regular soda aisle, and those are for you. Now, wait a minute. There's different soda. So at first, you think that it's just their little Hispanic brand. Then you keep looking and find out, wait a minute, they got Coca-Cola with no sugar, with regular sugar instead of the sugar cracked corn. Wait a minute, there's other ones? You go down this aisle and you say, well, wait a minute, why are there sodas on the same aisle with the tortillas? I mean, this just don't make good sense. So I'm going to get a taco and a Coke on the same aisle? This just don't make good sense until you read the back of that drink. Oh, wait a minute. So you only want the sugar cracked corn to go to us. Those people not going to drink the sugar cracked corn. Oh, interesting. Right. They're trying to get us drunk. Then we in there with all of these health issues. But those other people ain't. Go ahead.
Verse 17. For the violence of Lebanon shall cover you, and the spoil of beasts, which made them afraid, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. What profits the graven image? What profits the graven image that the maker thereof has graven it, the molten image, and a teacher of lies, that the maker of his work trusteth therein, to make dumb idols? Woe unto him that says to the wood, awake, to the dumb stone, arise, it shall teach. Behold, it is laid over with gold and silver, and there is no breath at all in the midst of it. But Yahweh is in his holy temple, that all the earth keep silence before him.
Do we understand what he said here? Verse 19, woe unto him that says to the wood, awake, to the dumb stone, arise, it shall teach. Do we understand what he said? You know, he just talked about the two people who crusading, right?
Mm-hmm.
You understand that the wood was the Christian crusaders, the stone is the Muslims, because their holy site is the rock that came from heaven, the dome of the rock. Okay, so he just talked about the two biggest religions that are going to cause you problems. And we think we doing something when we pick one over the other. That's what we think we doing something. So we said, I'm done with the wood. I'm going to fall in love with the stone. And you know, it normally goes that way. It normally never goes the other way. You don't find people of the stone that then fall in love with the wood. But you will find people who will of the wood who fall in love with the stone. Right. Go to the next graphic, brother, and I want you to read that verse for me. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 36.
Yahweh shall bring you and your king which you shall set over you unto a nation which neither you nor your fathers have known, and there shall you serve other gods, wood and stone.
Right. Here we go. The wood and stone has been fighting the entire time, and we think we're doing something when we pick one over the other. This is still part of your curse. So we leave one part of the curse, go into another part of the curse, and say, I'm free. All you did was go to another part of the jail. I'm in cell block D now. Shoot. They serve eggs down here. Right. Go to the next graphic, bro.
Exporting the seeds of Western modernity around the globe was no humanitarian mission or white man's burden. It was first and foremost a means to make colonial domination sustainable, educating a class of indigenous civil servants in modern scientific methods could provide the kind of rational bureaucracy that would make a colony run efficiently for generations to come. Building a railroad infrastructure was typically about getting local raw materials to European markets for processing into finished goods for resale.
Right. Now, people would say, man, a lot of advances have come since these people have come into our city. Yeah, they just made a better way to get your resources out. You didn't have to have a railroad to get your resources out because you was going to make whatever you got from your ground right there. But they not going to let you make it right there. So they need to build a railroad so they can transport your raw material somewhere else. Okay, go ahead.
Having a functional legal system protected private property and the underpinnings of this new system.
Wait a minute, wait. Having a functioning legal system. The functioning legal system is a mean of control. You don't think so? Watch whenever one of these people buy a house in your neighborhood. If you have a car parked out on the street, watch how the people who trying to sell the house get the police to come and tell you to move your car and do all of these things. Well, what are you doing that? The police have been a private force for commerce. They come and tell you to move your cars. Are they going to continue to do that? No. They're only doing it until that person sell their house. Once they make their money, y'all can go back to doing whatever y'all want to do. This was to protect private ownership. Go ahead.
European domination was less about the rule of law than it was about rule through law.
Rule through law, not rule of law. They're using the law to conquer. You go in, you destroy something, and then you make laws that it is illegal to do what you just did.
It wasn't legal when we came. It wasn't illegal when we did it. But now you can't just do that to people now because we bought a flag in.
Right. Go ahead.
Liberal governmental structures at home in Europe were rarely for purposeful export to colonies. Still, those democratic institutions and their philosophical foundations could not help but seep into local systems and consciousness in a beguiling way. European domination of the Muslim world was a complicated affair.
European domination of Muslim world. Now, they will tell you that the Muslims are violent. They don't tell you that how long can you step on somebody's neck before they retaliate or say, I need you to get off my neck. And then call that person violent when they proclaim that you need to get off of them. Go ahead.
Marked by brutality and supremacy, but also containing within it the seeds of powerful and appealing new forms of society and economy. European modernity exported through the barrel of a gun.
Exported through the barrel of the gun. So, at this point, they got Bibles and guns. Yet, we're going to hear a sermon of love tomorrow. Go ahead.
Was both ruthless and enticing at the same time.
Uh-huh.
Not surprisingly, there was a vast spectrum of response by Muslims and other subject populations to this new form of domination. While some Muslims saw the promise of European modernity and sought to embrace it fully, many more sought instead some hybrid form of synergy between a revered religious heritage and culture, as well as the appeal of selective European legal and economic institutions and practices. Still others saw no good coming from such new and foreign practices and sought to reject them, root and branch. It was an intellectually turbulent time.
Right. This system of control, which we are still dealing with to this day. It is just not called a crusade. There is constant push to make sure that the so-called Middle East stays destabilized. What is it? The crusade is still going on. Go to the next graphic, brother.
The founding of the Muslim Brotherhood. Modern Islamism began in organizational form in 1928 when a 22-year-old Egyptian school teacher named Hassan al-Banna founded the Society of Muslim Brothers, more commonly known as the Muslim Brotherhood, al-Ikhwan al-Muslimin. In its early years, the Brotherhood was more of a youth group and social club than a political organization, although it did promote an all-encompassing view of the role of Islam in society. Like most Islamists to follow, Banna was not a cleric. Rather, he was a teacher who received his training in Cairo at the secular Dar al-Ulam Academy before accepting a teaching position in Ismailia, in the Suez Canal zone. It was in Ismailia where Banna founded the Brotherhood shortly after arriving. Ismailia and the whole of the Suez Canal zone in 1928 were still very much under British control.
Stop. All of this is under British control. Now, we're going to start passing some other dates. And I want you to pay attention to these dates. Go ahead.
Britain had long dominated Egypt.
Britain had long dominated Egypt. Go ahead.
First indirectly throughout much of the 19th century, then directly with its invasion and occupation of Egypt in 1882.
Mm-hmm.
Britain's protectorate over Egypt lasted until formal independence was granted in 1922.
Hey, and please don't think that these are the same Egyptians that the children of Israel were captive to. Please don't think that. Go ahead.
But Britain remained in hegemonic force inside Egypt until the 1950s. Britain's domination of Egypt was particularly strong in the Suez Canal, which London viewed as its strategic lifeline to India and all of its colonial interests east of Suez.
So they used these areas, the Suez Canal. Y'all notice we having a certain little problem about a straight, a little narrow way that ships go through to deliver goods. We just so happen to be fighting over the same kind of area that they use for commerce. So if it was a crusade then, how is it not a crusade now? Go ahead.
Banna and his followers were strongly opposed to British imperialism in Egypt and believed that a vigorous and strong interpretation of Islam was necessary to rid the country of foreign control as well as corrupt cultural influences. Banna's nationalism was a key feature of his ideology, beginning with his participation in the 1919 revolution against British control.
All right, go to the next graphic.
The late 1940s and early 50s proved decisive for the Brotherhood in Egypt, particularly as Egyptian nationalism against British imperialism grew.
Now understand now this in Egypt, this is against British imperialism. Now keep that in mind. Go ahead.
The Brotherhood's small armed force participated in the war in Palestine in 1948.
Now that's an important year. What happened in 1948?
Establishment of the State of Israel.
Oh, so so Israel was established as a state. Okay, and who established them?
Britain and America.
Britain. Oh, no. America ain't had nothing to do with it.
Okay.
America did some things, but all of this was pulled by the British. And then once the British got Israel set up as a state, they stepped back and let America do all the dirty work of protecting her. But who set her up? Britain. All right, keep reading.
Arguably faring better than the Egyptian military, which performed disastrously. The Brotherhood's intense criticism of the regime for its poor showing in Palestine got it banned by the Egyptian Prime Minister, Nukarashi Pasha, who was almost immediately assassinated by a member of the Brotherhood. Regime security forces took revenge by assassinating Hassan al-Banna in February 1949. In an atmosphere of intense anti-British sentiment and popular support for groups opposed to British control, the government in Cairo lifted the Brotherhood's political ban in 1950.
So wait a minute. So first they banned this group, but then they don't like British control. So then now, really slick thing can be done that will make it not look like it's British control, even though it is. I wonder what they're gonna do. Keep reading.
The organization quickly became active in anti-British demonstrations and made common cause with military officers, who overthrew the Egyptian monarchy and established a republic in 1952. That alliance soared quickly because the Brotherhood opposed the secular policies implemented by the new military regime in Cairo. By the late 1930s and early 1940s, the Brotherhood had become more overtly political and militant. It formed its own armed militia, the Special Apparatus, Al-Jihaz al-Qaz, which was answerable directly to the leader of the Brotherhood, Bena himself.
All right, so I want to put something else together here. I want you to go to 2 Kings 17, and we're going to read just a few verses, because sometimes when you read something and you also have a secular event to connect it to, it gets a little stronger in your mind. 2 Kings 17, I want you to start at verse 24.
And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Cutha, and from Ava, and from Hamath, and from Sepharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. And they possessed Samaria, and dwelt in the cities thereof. And so it was, at the beginning of their dwelling there, that they feared not Yahweh. Therefore Yahweh sent lions among them, which slew some of them.
Now, understand, if we put a time forward, you look in your study Bible, it'll say BC 721 when this event took place. Keep going.
Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nations which you have removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of the ale of the land. Therefore he has sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them, because they know not the manner of the ale of the land. Then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, carry thither one of the priests whom you brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let him teach them the manner of the ale of the land. Then one of the priests whom they had carried away from Samaria came and dwelt in Bethel, and taught them how they should fear Yahweh. Howbeit every nation made gods of their own, and put them in the houses of the high places which the Samaritans had made, every nation in their cities wherein they dwelt. And the men of Babylon made Succoth-Benoth, and the men of Cuth made Nergal, and the men of Hamath made Ashima.
So these people were allowed to live in the land of Israel without serving Yahweh in truth and in spirit, because they were not ancestrally or ethnically Israel. They were Israel by location, not Israel by ethnicity. So they were allowed to have a form of worship toward Yahweh, but still worship other gods. The very thing that Yahweh kicked us out for. Go ahead.
And the Ivites made Nibhaz and Tartak, and the Sepharvites burnt their children in the fire to Adremelech and Anamelech, the gods of Sepharvaim.
Now wait a minute. We got dealt with harshly for that. Yet they come in and they can do this, and Yahweh doesn't do anything to them. As long as they just show a broad respect for Yahweh, then they can still exist in the land. Sounds awfully interesting and just like what's happening right now. Go ahead.
So they feared Yahweh and made unto themselves of the lowest of them priests of the high places, which sacrificed for them in the house of the high places. They feared Yahweh and served their own gods after the manner of the nations whom they carried away from thence. Unto this day they do after the former manners. They fear not Yahweh, neither do they after their statutes, after the ordinances, or after the law and commandments which Yahweh commanded the children of Jacob, whom he named Israel.
Right. So there's a difference between those people and Israel. Let's go to Revelation chapter 3. Now, keep in mind, the Crusades are taking place after this. So you got a whole lot of stuff. So this is there at that point. So how much more after you keep laying generation after generation upon this? Revelation chapter 3, and I want you to read verses 7 through 13.
And to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write, these things say he that is holy, he that is true, he that has the key of David, he that opens and no man shuts, and shuts and no man opens. I know your works. Behold, I have set before you an open door, and no man can shut it. For you have a little strength, and has kept my word, and have not denied my name. Behold, I'll make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Yehudims, and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before your feet, and to know that I have loved you. Because you have kept the word of my patience, I also will keep you from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world, to try them that dwell upon the earth.
Now wait a minute. He says, behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. I will make them to come and worship before your feet. Wait a minute. If they have these synagogues, and he says they are of Satan, what happened? They worship a little bit about Yahweh on the surface, but they have their own God set up that they worship. Wait a minute. Yahweh lets you know exactly what he's dealing with. Go ahead.
Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which you have, that no man take your crown. Him that overcomes will I make a pillar in the temple of my Elohim, and he shall go no more out. And I'll write upon him the name of my Elohim, and the name of the city of my Elohim, which is New Jerusalem, which comes down out of heaven from my El. And I'll write upon him my new name. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
Do we have an ear? Now, the establishment of Israel as a state is an extension of the Christian crusade. This action placed British-approved individuals in control of the Holy Land by claiming to be the actual descendants of the biblical Hebrews of Scripture. This is why there is so much fight by the Muslims. They have already been fighting for generations over the same land. Now you come up with mysteriously the people who are supposed to be the descendants of the land, but they look just like you. Now British sentiment that's against them, the hatred, steps back. Why? Because they transfer all that to the newly created state. That state operates the new Crusades order of British control. Do understand, Britain put them there, not America. This is where we are operating in such a way that people think that it was just America. This was by Britain's hand. This is who had all of that. Who had Palestine before? Britain. Understand what's going on here. So the issue is, and has always been, whenever a figure was put into power in the so-called Middle East, eventually they turn against the people who put them there, wanting the power and control for themselves. This is exactly what is happening in the case of the Holy Land. Let's go to Matthew chapter 2. No matter who they put in charge, those people always turn around and fight against them. But this is just another crusade. It is the exact same thing that they have been doing before. The only thing that has changed is name. Just like they say they freed us from slavery. Put forth a piece of paper that says you are free, except if you commit a crime. Then make laws to make sure that you commit a crime. So basically, they just made slavery by another name. Here, the crusade has just taken on another name. Go ahead, brother.
Now when Yahshua was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born king of the Yehudims? For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him.
All right. So because they are trying to operate in the Western control, he has to involve himself in religious dealings of the Jews. He's got to get in there. He's got to push his own representatives in the priesthood so that he knows everything that's going on. Go ahead.
And when he had gathered all the chief priests and the scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where the Mashiach should be born. And they said unto him, In Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet.
Right. He has such control that he can get them to tell him about the inner workings of their worship practices. Now, why would he want to do that? So he can mimic it, so he can destroy it. But he needs to have some information to be able to effectively do it. Go ahead.
And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Yehuda, are not the least among the princes of Yehuda, for out of you shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Then Herod, when he had privately called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared.
Now, understand what is stated here. Verse 6, And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Yehuda, are not the least among the princes of Yehuda, for out of you shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. If he comes out of Judah, he is ethnically Israel. Then he is ethnically the same people. What did they give us? They gave us a Gentile and told us that his name was Jesus. He just told us the ethnic origin of this governor. But then when people say, well, what difference do it make what color he is? Because my book says that he's from a certain ethnic group. See, if we were to do a movie about George Washington, and we tell, you know what, 50 Cent, why don't you play George Washington? It'd be an uproar. This is blasphemy. Wait a minute, why y'all so mad? Y'all didn't want Curtis to play? Why you don't let Curtis? He gonna put a little flavor in George Washington. What happened? Y'all don't like no season on y'all chicken? What's the matter? Right. Go ahead.
And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, Go and search diligently for the young child, and when you have found him, bring me word again, that I may come and worship him also. When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Miriam his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold, and frankincense, and myrrh. And being warned of Elohim in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Adonai appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise and take the young child and his mother and flee into Egypt, and be you there until I bring you word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed into Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of the Adonai by the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt have I called my son.
The same areas that the Crusades want to completely control. Go ahead.
Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding angry, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem and in all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men.
So the whole time he's inquiring, he's getting this information. It is so he can make a better assault. So Moshe says that Yahweh shall bring another leader like unto me. Wait a minute. Moshe went through the same thing. At that point, they were trying to kill the Messiah. So they went and killed all the Hebrew boys at a certain point, trying to keep Moshe from being born. Then they do the same thing to Moshe's replacement. Go ahead.
Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, In Ramah was there a voice heard, lamentation and weeping and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, and would not be comforted, because they are not.
All right, let's read about a little bit more information about some of these soldiers and whatnot that they had. Let's go to the next graphic.
Templar, member of the Poor Knights of Christ and of the Temple of Solomon, a religious military order of knighthood established at the time of the Crusades that became a model and inspiration for other military orders.
Stop. It became a model and inspiration for other military orders. So a lot of these groups that we join are connected to these groups. So we say, I'm going to be this, and I'm going to join to that. What I got to do? Well, just ride the goat and come on back here, and we're going to do some stuff. And then we're going to give you your orders who you need to go and protect. No, they had duties, okay? But they're going to be given some special privileges if they join these orders. Go ahead.
Originally founded to protect Christian pilgrims to the Holy Land, the order assumed great military duties during the 12th century. Its prominence and growing wealth, however, provoked opposition from rival orders. Following the success of the First Crusade, 1095 through 99, a number of Crusader states were established in the Holy Land, but these kingdoms lacked the necessary military force to maintain more than a tenuous hold over their territories. Most Crusaders returned home after fulfilling their vows, and Christian pilgrims to Jerusalem suffered attacks from Muslim raiders. Pitying the plight of these Christians, 8 or 9 French knights, led by Hugh de Payens, vowed in late 1119 or early 1120 to devote themselves to pilgrims to the pilgrims' protection and to form a religious community for that purpose. Baldwin II, king of Jerusalem, gave them quarters in a wing of the royal palace in the area of the former Temple of Solomon, and from this they derived their name.
So, if you pay attention to a lot of the events that are happening in the Holy Land, they'll tell you that they're settlers that end up being in conflict with the people of the land as they are moving into this land. These Templar, these knights, these are mercenaries hired to go and do some work. Y'all understand we still use mercenaries today?
Mm-hmm.
And some of those mercenaries have gotten extremely large and powerful because instead of saying that they're sending the actual military, they will send the mercenary groups. They have gotten rich. What did it say before? These knights had gotten so rich that they owned property. They had all of these things. Why? Because they were able to do some things. And we're going to see. Keep reading.
The Templars gradually expanded their duties from protecting pilgrims to mounting a broader defense of the Crusader states in the Holy Land. They built castles, garnished important towns, and participated in battles, fielding significant contingents against Muslim armies until the fall of Acre, the last remaining Crusader stronghold in the Holy Land in 1291. Their great effectiveness was attested by the Sultan Saladin following the devastating defeat of Crusader forces at the Battle of Hattin. The Templars eventually acquired great wealth.
They acquired great wealth. Go ahead.
The kings and great nobles of Spain, France, and England gave lordships, castles, seigneuries, and estates to the order, so that by the mid-12th century, the Templars owned properties scattered throughout Western Europe, the Mediterranean, and the Holy Land. The Templars' military strength enabled them to safely collect, store, and transport bullion to and from Europe and the Holy Land, and their network of treasure storehouses and their efficient transport organization made them attractive as bankers to kings as well as to pilgrims to the Holy Land.
Interesting. This has always been about commerce from day one. All right? Now, these are crusaders. Now, I want to read something because we have endured and had to deal with some night crusaders. They call themselves night crusaders. Go to the next.
Ku Klux Klan.
It's hard to say that. It's hard to say that word. And then that Ku Klux Klan. I kept saying Ku.
Ku Klux Klan.
All right.
First era Reconstruction. Formed in 1865 in Pulaski, Tennessee, by Confederate veterans, the initial Klan acted as an underground vigilante group.
Now, where did they ever get this idea? Come on, man. Everybody doing the same thing. Everybody is following what they are accustomed to. They know that they got real success doing their crusades, pillaging all of these towns. So then they said, okay, these blacks getting all this money. They doing all of these things, so something had to go and stop them. See, we built their legacy and they know we built it. And to keep us from building another, they had to form something to slow us down. Go ahead.
It engaged in a campaign of terror and murder against newly enfranchised Black Americans and their white allies to reestablish white supremacy.
Right. What do you think the Crusades were for against the Muslims? To maintain white supremacy. Go ahead.
This era of violence led to the federal Ku Klux Klan Act of 1871, also known as the Civil Rights Act of 1871.
Now, they don't tell you that that's the same, that's what it is. They'll just tell you Civil Rights Act now. Go ahead.
which declared the KKK illegal and empowered President Ulysses S. Grant to suppress them. Second era, 1920s peak. Inspired by the 1915 film The Birth of a Nation, a second Klan was established in Georgia. This iteration expanded its target list to include Catholics, Jewish people, immigrants, and labor unions, in addition to Black Americans. It became a massive nationwide organization.
A massive nationwide organization of nighttime crusaders. There's a reason why they call themselves crusaders. They developed their operation from the Crusades. Go ahead.
With millions of members exercising significant political influence before declining rapidly by the 1930s.
All right. Now, the Christian Crusades unalived approximately 1 to 9 million people, with most researchers agreeing that the actual number being around 3 to 6 million people that were unalived during their violent conversion campaigns. During these campaigns, the choices were simple: convert to Christianity or die. There are accounts of some committing self-unaliving and even doing away with their children rather than converting or submitting to execution by the Crusaders. Today, Sunday morning sermons of love are common and compelling. Many are moved to change their social behavior because of the pleasant words being spoken. Most do not consider that Sunday morning's presentation of love was achieved through what would be called absolute hatred. If we were to venture out and examine individuals in the public who appear calm, poised, and socially presentable, we would be looking at only half of a story. What we would not immediately visibly see is if there is a person behind the scenes that have dealt with their issues quietly, and thus allowing them to appear more righteous before men. These people are not better than you. They just have someone who is better and maybe more dedicated in hiding their indiscretions than what you have access to. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 65. We are not saying that there's a problem with a message or sermon of love. But it is important that we discuss your body count when we're dealing with this love. You ever notice that all the people who telling you that they love you, they never want to discuss their body count? That is not up for debate. But when you proclaim this undying love, it's interesting to note how many people you slayed for you to have this calm, poised disposition. Isaiah 65, and let's read verses 1 through 5.
I am sought of them that asked not for me. I am found of them that sought me not. I said, behold me, unto a nation that was not called by my name. I have spread out my hands all the day unto a rebellious people, which walk in a way that was not good, after their own thoughts. A people that provoke me to anger continually to my face, that sacrifice in gardens, and burns incense upon altars of brick, which remain among the graves, and lodge in the monuments, which eat swine's flesh, and broth of abominable things is in their vessels.
But they said, well, see, but God created the Frigidaire. And see, when God created the Frigidaire, then the pork and the scrimp wasn't bad no more. Oh, okay. Right. Pay attention to the part about the graves. They remain among the graves. Go ahead.
Which say, stand by yourself. Come not near to me, for I am holier than you.
Wait a minute. The people who have the long body count telling you that they righteous and don't come stand by me. Now that's interesting. Go ahead.
These are smoke in my nose, a fire that burns all the day.
Now, it talked about remaining among the graves. I want you to go to Numbers chapter 9. Numbers chapter 9, and I want you to read verses 1 through 8.
And Yahweh spake unto Moshe in the wilderness of Sinai in the first month of the second year after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, Let the children of Israel also keep the Passover at his appointed season. In the 14th day of this month at even, you shall keep it in its appointed season, according to all the rites of it, and according to all the ceremonies thereof shall you keep it.
Now understand, according to all the rites of it, according to all the ceremonies, and you must keep it in its season. The Christian Crusaders said that the Passover has to be kept on Sunday. Tell me when he said the 14th day. It don't matter what day it lands on. That's the Passover. They said it's going to be Sunday, and that's all that we're going to discuss. Now, we done with this matter. Nick? Oh, okay. Go ahead.
And Moshe spake unto the children of Israel that they should keep the Passover. And they kept the Passover on the 14th day of the first month at even in the wilderness of Sinai. According to all that Yahweh commanded Moshe, so did the children of Israel. And there were certain men who were defiled by the dead body of a man, that they could not keep the Passover on that day. And they came before Moshe and before Aaron on that day. And those men said unto him, We are defiled by the body of a dead man. Wherefore are we kept back, that we may not offer an offering unto Yahweh in his appointed season among the children of Israel.
So understand how important this was. These men said we are defiled by the dead body of a man. We had a job to do. Something happened. All right? Why are we kept back from offering our offering in its appointed season? Go ahead.
And Moshe said unto them, Stand still, and I'll hear what Yahweh will command concerning you.
Stand still. Now, according to ancient tradition, after Peter was martyred in Rome during the reign of Emperor Nero, he was buried in a modest grave on Vatican Hill. In the 4th century, Emperor Constantine built the first basilica over his grave. So according to their own account, St. Peter the Apostle is buried in the Vatican. His tomb is located deep beneath the high altar of St. Peter's Basilica, directly under the dome. He says they remain among the graves. He said they are a smoke in my nostrils. The place that orchestrated all the Crusades is built on top of a graveyard. I know some of y'all too young to have seen Poltergeist, but they built the house on top of the graveyard. All I can say is, didn't nobody get no rest. That's all I can say. All right? Yeah, it's just not a good situation at all. To save money, I think they just moved the headstones and put the house right on top of the bodies. But wait a minute. These people are admitting to you. These are their words that they built their center of religious authority on top of a grave. Then there's some that say some other things too, that the head and the body ain't at the same place. Yeah. But let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Matthew chapter 23. And that, so how many people gonna buy their ticket to go hear the next love speech? Do y'all understand when the Pope came to the United States, they filled up Yankee Stadium. Sure did. As he was holding a sunburst scepter with the image of the sun up under where he was standing. So he was standing in the fireball. Right. Matthew chapter 23, and let's start at verse 1.
Then spake Yahshua to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moshe's seat.
The scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moshe's seat. They have authority. Go ahead.
All therefore whatsoever they bid you, observe. That observe and do. But do not you after their works, for they say and do not.
Now, it's very interesting because I want you to listen to these things, because what is being said on Sunday morning is that you are the Pharisees. Because you people want to keep the Sabbath, you want to keep Passover, you want to keep Feast of Unleavened Bread. They said, y'all are nothing but Pharisees. All right? So you need to understand what's being said about you. Keep reading.
For they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers.
Now understand, his problem with the Pharisees was that they're hypocrites. They said all the right things, but they didn't do any of the things that they said. Keep going.
But all their works they do for it to be seen of men.
Uh-huh.
They make broad their phylacteries and enlarge the borders of their garments.
All right, they got nice clothing. Go ahead.
And love the uppermost rooms at feast, and chief seats in the synagogues, and greetings in the markets, and to be called of men, Rabbi, Rabbi. But be not you called Rabbi, for one is your master, even the Mashiach, and all you are brethren. And call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father, which is in heaven. Neither be you called masters, for one is your master, even the Mashiach. But he that is greatest among you shall be your servant.
Uh-huh.
And whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased, and he that shall humble himself shall be exalted. But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites!
Hypocrites.
For you shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. For you neither go in yourselves, neither suffer you them that are entering to go in.
Uh-huh.
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you devour widows' houses, and for a pretense make long prayer. Therefore you shall receive the greater damnation.
Now, wait a minute. These people say that you are the Pharisees. Now, he says, you scribes and Pharisees, you devour widows' houses. Wait a minute. A widow is a woman who has no husband because her husband is deceased. Wait a minute. How many of them telethons you seen where the old lady come up there and give all her money for this miracle spring water? Yet we being called the Pharisees. Yet we watch as widows' houses are devoured. Right. Keep reading.
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you compass sea and land to make one proselyte.
Wait a minute. Whoa, hold on. If you compass sea and land to make a proselyte, ain't that a crusade? Wait a minute. Who did the crusade? So the very Pharisees who did all of this is calling you a Pharisee. Yet, you people the one that went sea and land and went all over the world spreading Christianity with the sword. Their Bible is full of blood. But had a nerve to tell you you ain't loving. Go ahead, Bree.
And when he's made, you make him twofold more the child of hell than yourself.
Wait a minute. The proselyte you made, because he also seen all that blood that you shed. So now he's twofold more the child of hell because now he believes in spreading the word through the sword as well because he watched you. Go ahead.
Woe unto you, you blind guides, which say, whosoever shall swear by the temple, it is nothing. But whosoever shall swear by the gold of the temple, he's a debtor. You fools and blind.
Wait a minute. Whosoever swear by the gold of the temple. Remember now, they built a whole network. They built railroads so they can transport the bullion. Bullion is their gold plates. This was all about commerce. So the very people who are calling you Pharisees are the descendants of Pharisees. They walk in the doctrine of the Pharisee and call you that. Go ahead.
You fools and blind, for whether is greater, the gold or the temple that sanctifies the gold? And whosoever shall swear by the altar, it is nothing. But whosoever swears by the gift that is upon it, he is guilty. You fools and blind. For whether is greater, the gift of the altar that sanctifies the gift? Whoso therefore shall swear by the altar, swears by it and by all things thereon.
I understand why they have to say somebody else is the Pharisee. They say that Yahshua and God is love. Well, wait a minute. He ain't speaking very loving right now. So they got to throw this at somebody else. Because we understand the sweetness and the severity of Elohim. They only want to deal with the sweetness. So whenever there's severity, it has to go somewhere else. Go ahead.
Whoso shall swear by the temple, swears by it, and by him that dwells therein. And he that shall swear by heaven, swears by the throne of Elohim, and by him that sits thereon. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites.
Now he says these scribes and Pharisees are hypocrites. Now let's see what they do.
For you pay tithes of mint and anise and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law.
Wait a minute. So the very ones who don't teach nothing but tithing turn around and say you the Pharisee because you ain't walking in love. But they have omitted other things. Now somehow they can go Sunday morning, can always find another sermon for tithing. Somehow tithing is like the bubble gum of sermons. It's like you can always you got your broiled tithes, you got your fried tithes, you got your sauteed tithes, you got tithes every week and every other week. You got to hear another sermon about tithing. Yet we are being called Pharisees. Go ahead.
Judgment, mercy, and faith.
All those things you've left off. But you don't forget the tithing. Go ahead.
These ought you to have done, and not to leave the other undone.
Wait a minute. Understand what he's saying. He said, no, I ain't saying you wrong about the tithing, but you wrong by omitting all the other stuff. Right. And because now they have all these bodies in the rearview mirror, now they can talk about love. But let's say if it was our relative, and you sitting in court, and they have brutally done away with your relative. And they get in court and they start talking about God and love. How much of that do you want to hear when it's your relative who had to have their blood spilled? Oh, it's different when it comes to us, huh? Oh, yeah, right. See, that's that inner hypocrisy that we got. We seem to let it be okay for this situation, but then when it comes too close to home, oh no, it gets dealt with differently. Right. Read.
You blind guides, which strain at a gnat and swallow a camel. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you may clean the outside of the cup and of the platter, but within they are full of extortion and excess. You blind Pharisees, cleanse first that which is within the cup and platter, that the outside of them may be clean also. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are like unto whited graves, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones and of all uncleanness.
Here we go again. Full of dead men's bones. Their church is built on a dead man's bones. And they call you a Pharisee. Free.
Even so you also outwardly appear righteous unto men, but within you're full of hypocrisy and lawlessness.
Hypocrisy and lawlessness. Wait a minute. They said the law is nailed to the cross. And let me explain something to you. I don't care what denomination they say they are part of. They're all offshoots of Catholicism, because what stopped the Crusades was their denominations. The Catholic Church didn't have all of that power anymore, so they couldn't outright go at the Crusades, so they had to change them. But a Baptist is a Catholic who broke off. A Methodist, a Lutheran, Episcopal, all of them just broke off from Catholicism. So they all benefited from the bloodshed of the Crusades, so that they can stand and look pious and holy and talk about love, but not discuss all of the bodies that's in their rearview mirror. Go ahead, priest.
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the graves of the righteous, and say, if we had been in the days of our fathers, we would not have been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. Wherefore you be witnesses unto yourselves, that you are the children of them which killed the prophets. Fill you up then the measure of your fathers. You serpents, you generation of vipers, how can you escape the damnation of hell? Wherefore, behold, I send unto you prophets and wise men and scribes, and some of them you shall kill and crucify.
Because you're not going to recognize their love when they come. See? You're going to be looking for flowers and candy. And they trying to get you to walk according to the culture so that your soul might be saved. You ain't going to look at them with love. You ain't going to receive that as love. But them people out there in that streets who trying to coerce you, oh, them the people you show your love to. Right. Go ahead.
And some of them shall you scourge in your synagogues, and persecute them from city to city. That upon you may come all the righteous blood shed upon the earth, from the blood of righteous Abel unto the blood of Zacharias, son of Barachias, whom you slew between the temple and the altar. Verily I say unto you, all these things shall come upon this generation.
All these things shall come upon this generation. So, as I have said several times, we are not speaking against love. What we speak is that you understand what love actually is. At least you throw it away looking for something that it ain't. And then realize later what you have thrown away. And it's always too late to come back and renegotiate after you've thrown away love because you thought it was something else. Please don't let these programs fool you and to think you're looking at something and you don't know what you're looking at. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.